Hello and thanks for joining us. The SCMP's Facebook Live. I'm Yondan Latu, Senior Editor. With me is Regina Ip, former Security Minister, former Executive Councillor. She's a lawmaker and she's a Chief Executive candidate. Regina, thanks for joining us again. Okay, I have to ask you, let me just explain to our viewers a little bit of the background. We are in a very critical stage of the Chief Executive election. The aspirants have to basically collect 150 nominations each, a minimum 150 nominations from the election committee, which will choose the next chief executive on March 26. And two candidates we know have already come forward, and they've said they've got enough nominations. They've handed in their nominations. We have a third candidate, which is former Chief Secretary Carrie Lam, the front runner in the race, and we expect her to have plenty of nominations. The thing is, Regina, it's you. What happened? What's going on? I mean, we know that you're still, quite struggling, right, to get something.
Yes. I think this election is unprecedented in that there are as many as 3 candidates from the pro-establishment camp. In fact, all 3 of us, John, Carrie, and me, we came from the same background. The government administrative officer background, very similar, and. So you have unprecedented competition, and you also have a judge, So that's why it has turned out to be very tough.
Okay, well, if you look at the 4 candidates, including yourself, so, okay, you have Carrie Lam, who is the former Chief Secretary, and she is widely seen as Beijing's anointed choice, the preferred choice. Then you have John Tsang, who has just quit as Financial Secretary, and he's a very popular guy. He was the Finance Minister for 9.5 years. Then there's the third candidate, which is Justice Woo Kwok Heng. He's a retired judge. When I look at all 4 of you, Regina, okay, with John Tsang, you can see the mass appeal that he has. Carrie Lam has much of the establishment machinery, seems to be behind her, so she's got a solid run. So do you, because you're somebody who's, who has the political chops. You have a direct mandate in the geographical constituencies. You're a high scorer in terms of bringing in votes. And you also have the administrative chops because you used to be the security minister and you spent a long time in government. Justice Wu doesn't have any of that, but he's a respected judge. But when someone like Justice Wu, who initially only had 3 votes, right, from the election committee, and now he's ready to go. But you're still very cagey on how many you've got. We understand it's in 2 digits, you said, double digits?
Well, I've asked many of the EC members in the pandemic group, if it is it okay for you to tell me why you nominate Justice Wu, Because a lot of the electors this time, they are political newcomers, the Christians, the Catholics, they were elected by random. A lot of the professionals, the young professionals, they are really new. And the young people who told me, because Justice Wu's platform simply is appealing to them, like enacting local legislation to prevent interference of the central government in Hong Kong's internal affairs based on Article 22 of the Basic Law. But that is easier said than done, It's just a pipe dream, But these ideas appeal to the young people, to the young professionals. Many of them, I think, are truly idealistic.
So it's an ideological divide that just won't let you break this.
Yes. Whoever seems to be pro-democracy or anti-police or pro-justice, will win the hearts of a lot of these young professionals.
I see this from what you're telling me. I see this as, in school elections when you have the class representative or the school representative, they also have these, they go through the motions of an election. And often, they're school kids. So there'll be free Pepsi in the water fountains from now on, that kind of stuff. Now, of course, it's never going to happen. But, you would imagine, though, that people would have who's got the correct,
But unfortunately,
yeah.
Even in the beauty contest, you have several contests, swimsuit or evening gown, whatever. So far, we have not had any proper debate, allowing all 4 candidates to debate the issues really uppermost in our minds, or to test the feasibility of their ideas. So far, You know, the nomination period will close soon. We have not had a single debating forum allowing all 4 candidates to compete, and that's a great pity.
Yeah, because time is running out, right? There's
Yes.
no mention of that yet.
Yes.
Do you feel like it has not been a level playing field for you at all, right from the start?
Well, I'll reserve my judgment, you know.
You can be brave enough to say it. I mean, you're nearing the end now. It's Judgment Day soon.
Oh, well, it's not yet, not quite the end, you know. Even after close of the nomination period, I think I will still reserve my judgment until the election has actually been held.
Okay, fair enough. You did talk about the ideological divide in terms of reaching out to young people in particular, you know, to the pan-democratic camp, the pro-establishment camp, and to bridge this divide, to convince people that you may not have the pan-democratic chops, but you're still somebody who can work with the pan-democrats or whatever. The fact that you just don't get a chance, I mean, does it feel like a lot of it is to do with the very strong opinions that people have now, right? It's I don't like you. It doesn't matter what you say, what solutions you have for Hong Kong. I just don't like you. I like somebody else. It must be really frustrating, right?
Yes, but on the other hand, through my campaign in the last 2 months, I met with a lot of young professionals, including Occupy Central participants. And I'm really glad to say, although we have differences, major differences on many political issues, we ended our meetings in, you know, in an amicable way. You know, although it was difficult to reach a consensus, I think we respected each other. They had no bad things to say about me. Several of them did commend me for my sincerity. And I think Albert Lai of Civic Party, after meeting me, told the media, he said, I have the most thorough grasp of the economy and society. And Mr. Xu, a legislator from the social welfare sector, he said he was impressed by my sincerity. You know?
I think your sincerity is, people can see that, which is why you're still trying to go on. For those of you who've just joined us, you're watching the SCMP's Facebook Live interview with Regina Ip, Chief Executive Candidate. And we're talking about the difficulties she's having now trying to get enough nominations to actually qualify formally for the race.
But for a politician, if you want to stay in politics, the ability to take on new ideas, even from people who disagree with you, to make new friends, to be able to reach out, that's very important. That's very important training for me. I do feel I have been improving my emotional intelligence in the past 2 months, you know. So it's been a highly valuable experience for me, win or lose.
So you're talking about a learning experience there. I remember the last time I spoke to you, we talked about the importance of EQ and you know, the ability to reach out to the masses, not just to be really competent and professional, but also to be able to have mass appeal.
Yes.
And I remember you said to me, it's not a smiling contest. You changed your mind now a bit?
Eventually, whoever elected has to deal with tough issues. But it is still, I think it would be ideal if a leader could deal with tough issues, could resolve tough issues in the smiling manner. That's my new observation.
You've learned some lessons.
Yes, I've learned some lessons.
Okay, you know, when you're talking about learning lessons, Regina, the reason for your unpopularity to begin with was because you were pushing through a very difficult concept, a piece of legislation, Article 23, back in your days as Security Minister. And at that time, you became a publicly much hated figure. But you learned your lessons from that. You went overseas, you studied stuff, you came back, you started from scratch and built up a political following, that kind of stuff. So given all that and your desire, your ambition to become chief executive, to do more for Hong Kong, as you often say, do you feel like this is a city that doesn't give you second chances?
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I won't draw that conclusion. Because at the end of my 2-month campaign so far, Article 23 no longer an issue. Initially, when I launched my campaign, all the questions revolved around Article 23. Yesterday at Hong Kong Youth Forum organized by the Pandems, nobody raised Article 23, you know. So I think that clearly shows a shift of attitude. After all, Hong Kong people have rewarded me and my party with high votes in highly competitive electrical elections last September.
You know, you always come across as somebody who is very much in control. I mean, you're a tough lady, but are there moments when you go home at night and kind of curl up in a corner? You feel like you've really, the world is against you kind of thing?
Of course, there have been ups and downs, of course, inevitably. You know, I've been on an emotional roller coaster, initially very hopeful, you know, because initially I thought my chief rival would be Mr. C.Y. Leung, you know. And then when Mrs. Lam said that she had to change her mind, clearly a new strong contender is emerging on the scene. And furthermore, when it is pretty clear that Mr. John Tsang would not quit, clearly the numbers are working against me. When you have 3 former AOs of similar background, 2 occupying recently much higher positions than me in the ring, naturally my chances are affected.
Which is why I was talking to you about the level playing field.
Yeah.
To say well, let's be very honest. I mean, or let's you be very honest. Just tell us, you have 3 more days. What are your chances?
You never know. All you need is 150.
But are you looking for a miracle or is there a good chance? 2 different things.
I think there is a fighting chance. Some pandemics are offering to help me.
Are you all right?
I've been talking a lot.
Okay.
And from what I know, in the pro-establishment camps, there are still subsectors which have not turned in their nominations. And I have some in hand. And I have people offering me help.
Even now? I mean, I think there are
Yes.
still people still coming to you saying they're still willing to nominate you, right?
Yes.
Regina, what will happen if you can't make it into the thing? How are you going to react if you can't make it into the first stage as an official candidate?
This scenario is something that I've never discounted right from day one. You either win or lose. You know, there's only one position, one vacancy. Well, I'll continue to do lead my party, work as legislator, work on subjects that I enjoy, like promoting the Belt and the Road, you know. Continue my policy research. I have plenty to do.
Without asking you to badmouth the other candidates, at the rate it's going, if you cannot make it through, and we have the remaining 3 candidates in there, 2 of them are the leading ones, John Tsang and Carrie Lam. If it goes that way and you're out of the picture, how do you see Hong Kong in the next 4 years? What kind of troubles, what kind of successes? What's the situation?
I think Hong Kong needs leaders who have professional competence to resolve a lot of our deep-seated social issues, like land and housing shortage, extremely wide income inequality, and retirement protection, a lot of shortage of medical, social welfare, health services, you know, a lot of top social economic issues to deal with. So you need someone with hardworking, driving with professional competence, but you also need someone who is a political leader in the sense of showing the ability to deal with different opinions in our society, to engage people from different political backgrounds, and the ability to win trust and foster harmony and hammer out consensus.
So do these people have it?
I think it would not be fair for me to pass judgment on them. But if they get nominated and I don't, if they need our votes, they all have to do what I have done, you know, that is come and visit us, explain the platform, take questions to show that they are worth the salt.
So if they want your vote, they'll have to lobby you, just like
they
you're
have to
lobbying
work
people.
for it. I think we all have to work for our living. Don't you agree?
All right. Well, Regina, you know, you are known as the comeback queen after you know your previous past political problems and how you've built up your own party, whatever. So maybe our viewers shouldn't count you out yet.
No, don't write me off. You know.
Don't write you off.
Don't write me off.
Well, we wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.